Inner Peace, Better Health. I am your host Shreya. Today's guest is Kerry Blaser, a mother, shaman, and newly published author of My Inner Heroine. Kerry doesn't just write about pain, she walks through it, transforms it, and alchemizes it into personal power. Her book is an invitation to all women who have been taught to hide their wounds. Today, we explore how feminine pain can become sacred wisdom and how true healing begins when we stop apologizing for our strength. So, welcome, Carrie. I'm honored to have you on my show.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here, making time for me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And, Carrie, your book is titled My Inner Heroine. So, what inspired you to write it now? And what does the word heroine mean to you in the context of healing?
Well, I had to learn that no one is coming to rescue me. So I had to be my own heroine and figure out what that meant. And I had to figure out that if I wanted to change my external reality, what I really needed to change was my internal reality. Change is an inside job, and our external reality is a reflection of our internal reality. So I was like, well, my external reality isn't that great. So what's going on in my heart that is what is my heart trying to show me? Like, how is the universe mirroring my heart back to me so I can see my wounds and change those wounds into wisdom? And so that's why I use the word heroine is I had to figure out how to rescue myself in my 40s. And yesterday I turned 55 and I feel like I've been successful at that.
Yes, yes. And telling the raw, unfiltered truth is its own kind of heroism. And also, did writing the story feel like confrontation uh, with your past or reclaiming of it?
Yeah, it's very helpful for me to own my crap. You know, and I tell stories about that in the book. Like only when writing my book did I see that I wanted to hurt myself more than other people. Like
Mm.
in the book, I share my suicide attempt. That was 6 years ago. And my ex-husband, he told me that I should be punished for my suicide attempt. And I spent years like telling people, "Oh, well, he's just a jerk for saying that, and he's just mean, and he's just messed up." And I'm not that is messed up to say that. But you know what's more messed up is trying to punish yourself so much that you try to kill yourself. So
Yeah.
I was hurting myself way more than he ever hurt me. And I had to own that. I had to
Mm.
own that I tried to punish myself in a way that went far beyond what he was ever talking about. So
Yes.
person using me the most was me, but I wasn't ready to admit that to myself. So I was
Mhm.
busy blaming other people, so I'd say that writing the book, I highly recommend writing. And my rule was I can let anything out on the page, but the end result is one, I will not disparage anyone else. I will not talk for anyone else. So in the book, you'll see that I talk that I attracted these men into my life. And what I had to learn was that through relationships, our relationships are our best mirror. And we have mirror neurons in our head to learn. And so the universe is a mirror showing us ourselves, showing us where, okay, you're doing really well right here, Carrie, but oh, over here, you need some work. And so then, okay, I know I need to do work over there. And so, I had to learn that, and our opposites are our best mirror. Like we know what tall is because we know what short is. We know what good is because we know what bad is. We know what a man is because we know what a woman is. So attracting these in my life, it was like men that was like, whoa, those men like me. I really had an opportunity to see myself, and so that's why I call them my heroes because I had to be my own heroine, but they were my heroes because they showed me my wounds and gave me so many opportunities for self-improvement.
Yes, yes, that's wonderful. And also, you speak of feminine pain, something often dismissed or misunderstood. So, how do you define it in your work?
So in my work, feminine pain is my femininity that I was repressing. So because I had a traumatic childhood, I was busy like protecting myself from, my parents, what they were saying about me, my brother, my and all the problems that I internalized their negativity, like I'm the problem. So then because my inside was I'm the problem. The external reality was also showing that to me, that I'm creating this problem and creating this problem and creating this problem. So what I call feminine pain is my inability to forgive, which is feminine. Self reflection is feminine. Compassion, nurturing, healing, creativity, intuition, all that is feminine. And I didn't know how to do those things. Like, I didn't know what my feminine lane was in a relationship. And I had to figure it out. So I call it feminine pain because it embodies all the maternal pain that I felt, because if I had still had trauma, I passed that down to my kids through generational trauma because I hadn't healed and their dad hadn't healed. And there's a lot of maternal pain there. So the first edition of my book was called Exploring Maternal Pain. And that I published last October, but then I had one more guy, my guy from my childhood that I had to interact with. And then I realized, oh, this is feminine pain, because then now it's not just, oh, since I've been a mom, now I have this pain. No, I've had this pain my whole life. And so then I was like able to talk about it in feminine pain, and how, since I repressed those parts of myself, I didn't know how to bring those necessary parts to a relationship. So, one piece of wisdom that I really connect with is a Cherokee proverb that says, "A woman's highest calling is to connect a man to his soul so he can unite with source," which is feminine energy, is source energy, creation energy. Man's highest calling is to protect a woman so she can walk the earth unharmed. Well, I was busy protecting, so I didn't know what was going on with, the feminine. But now that I've healed and had all this practice with these, really kind of prominent men, 2 Fire Academy instructors, Justin Waller, Andrew Tate, an FBI agent, I'm like, okay, I get it. This is what a woman does, and this is what a man does. And I finally, at 55 years old, figured it out.
Yes, yes. And I think so many women carry pain in silence, but
Yeah,
your work brings that silence to light.
thank
And
you.
why do you think so many women carry pain silently? And what happens when we finally give it a voice?
Well, I think that what I experienced is that the men that I attracted into my life had a hard time listening. And
Yeah.
so I'm the counterbalance. I had a hard time speaking. Right. And what people don't realize, and I have videos of psychologists saying this, is that our souls plan our lives based on our wounds for self improvement opportunities. So we attract people into our life based on our wounds. So I didn't go on a date with any of these guys, so I'm sexually underexpressed, which means this, from a law of physics perspective, because our souls are energy bodies, which physicists have proven, the men I will attract in are sexually overexpressed so that we can trigger each other and bring each other into balance. You see what I mean?
Yes.
So, the 2 fire department guys, the second guy was a fire captain, so I just call him the fire captain. So with the fire captain, what he showed me inside myself, his soul, really quickly, was that I had a wound, that I'm replaceable. So I had that wound. So who do I attract into my life? Men with multiple women, mirroring my wound back to me, that I'm replaceable. Okay, so I dealt with that wound. So now I won't attract in, one reason, men who have multiple women anymore. So many women are busy saying, well, where are all the good men? Okay, girlfriend. Well, if you don't see any good men, it's because you need to heal and become a good woman, because all the good men will all of a sudden appear in front of you when you have healed, and that your energy you're putting out is healthy femininity, because a lot of women today are in their masculine, blaming men for all the problems, but they're not acknowledging that femininity fuels masculinity. Femininity gives masculinity purpose, and men need purpose. And so if we use the laws of physics as an example, like if you have a male magnet, like you have positive and negative magnets. The positive would be the male, right? Male magnet alone internally is disorganized. It doesn't have purpose. But you wrap like copper feminine wire around it, it organizes and gives it purpose, right? So a man with a wife has purpose. Okay, I need a job, I gotta have a house. Oh, we're gonna have kids, and I gotta have a big enough house for kids. I need enough money for kids. That's a lot of healthy work for a man. But women these days, you know, they don't understand what feminine work is. And feminine work is our healthy femininity, but because women are being taught, oh, you need a career and then you need to do this and be all these ways, be a man, go to college, get a career. They don't have time to be healthy in their femininity. Like I didn't have time. I have a master's degree, and granted, I needed it, but a husband and a master's degree and then kids. Where's the time for Carrie to process her emotions and bring out her healthy femininity? Well, there's no time for it. So, as a culture, we need to value femininity and create time for, if we want healthy feminine women to fuel healthy masculine men, then we need time for healthy femininity. My book, goes over that and all the problems that I encountered because of feminism and sexual promiscuity, neither of which encourage healthy femininity.
Yes, yes, that's wonderful. And also, you blend a multidisciplinary approach in your healing practice. So,
Mhm.
can you share how shamanic practices complement modern trauma healing?
Oh, great. Yeah. So what I realize is that, like shamanism and psychology are often saying the same thing. So, like psychology talks about codependencies, where shamanism talks about rejected and recalled parts of self. So I'll give you an example. So like a couple weeks ago, I saw a picture of this statue, and it's a guy's head, his arms, his whole body is empty, so you can see right through him and see like the whole bay behind him, and then you see his legs, and the statue is called grief because his heart hurt so much. He was rejecting so many parts of himself. And that's how I felt like. And I was like, oh, well, that's codependency. When we reject ourselves and put other people's perceived desires and needs before ourselves, then we're acting from a wound. We're acting in codependent ways. So in shamanism, we call it rejecting part of ourselves. And then when we heal that part of ourselves, we call it we recall that part of ourselves. In psychology, we call it codependency. We break it, you break the codependency. There's things like radical acceptance, where in shamanism there's nothing wrong happens. Our souls plan our lives based on our wounds for healing purposes. So like regret doesn't exist. I mean, if you're having regret, then you're not understanding the process. So in psychology, okay, just accept life. All of it was necessary. What can you learn? So there's a lot of ways it crosses over, or shamanism with laws of physics. So the 2022 Nobel Peace Prize was around quantum entanglements, where two pieces of energy in different parts of the universe can connect and instantaneously influence each other, outside of, oh, well, what about the speed of light? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And this is how souls communicate. So physicists have proven that we all have energy bodies, that we're all communicating through our heart space. And this is how we have quantum entanglement. So me and Justin, how did I get to Andrew Tate? So my intuition guided me to reach out to Justin Waller in June of 2022, which is his best friend, based upon a question I had on male sexuality, because I'm attracting all these men with multiple women. I'm like, what's going on? How does this work? Like, I don't understand. Why is this happening now? Why is it why am I the victim? But my soul planned my life based on my wounds, because I needed these men to
Mm.
see myself. So anyway, um Justin, I reached out about 2 weeks after Andrew got canceled to Justin DM on Instagram. He got right back to me and thanked me for the emotional support. And then he opened his heart to me. Well, because he opened his heart to me and souls communicate with the hearts, now I have access to people in his heart. The next morning, up and Andrew's soul is hanging out at my house, because now I'm in Justin's network, so to speak, right? And they had a codependency, so that's why I had to, address Andrew's emotional pain from his childhood to break their codependency, to help Justin have a more balanced heart. Okay, I'm like, okay, great, this happened. I'm like, oh my gosh, and I didn't tell anybody for a year. Like, okay, and then I tell my kids, and they're all mad at me, like, why don't you help him? Like, well, isn't a more emotionally balanced Andrew Tate better for everybody? Well, yes, but why did you help him? I'm like, okay, I got some work to do, and so, but I mean, he helped me see myself so much. Andrew did, like the fire
Mm.
captain. His soul taught me that a man will open his heart to a woman when her love is stronger than his brute. And I'm like, well, if I apply that to me and Andrew, that means my capacity for love and compassion as a healer is greater than Andrew Tate's capacity for brute strength as the four-time UFC world. Like, I think it helps some people, you know, like I think, hopefully I can help some people. And that's when, like,
mm,
seeing that it's taken me, years, like this was, 3 years
mm,
ago for me to accept and like believe in my heart and write the book and, fall down and get up and
mm.
learn to like surf the waves of life, right? And
Yes.
get all self-belief out of my shadow and all that more. So I need a lot more self-confidence. And now, I'm in the middle of negotiations on a film adaptation and to go from like
Mm,
self-published. So I just published in April, a couple months ago,
mm,
to film adaptation is like less than 1 in a million. And I'm working on getting traditionally published. I just heard of a literary agent who's,
mm,
pretty is very interested in working with me. I'm like, okay, let's go, but and this like the production company is big enough to handle
mm,
and because his soul and my soul have a plan to help address sexual assault, which they Andrew Tate, what, he's just busy being doing sexual assault. Okay, I don't know what he did or didn't do. I'm not judge or jury, but what I can
mm.
tell you is that triggers are our healing friend and not our healing foe, and he definitely triggers men and women. So he triggers that pain to the surface, and then my book comes along and shows people how to process that emotional pain, because really the only way to stop sexual assault is to get those wounds out of our soul so our soul doesn't plan those events in our life anymore to show us that wound. No wound
Yes.
means no. You see what I mean? So
Yes.
and so this is a message that I want to get out. But so many people are triggered by Andrew Tate. I start to mention Andrew, like, oh, wait, the redirect. But, I'm kind of showing one way that from a soul perspective, our souls have a
Mm.
plan to, download more wisdom and become more conscious and become more enlightened as a collective. And as a collective, this is what we're doing together.
Yes, yes. And approached beautifully the honor both science and spirits in healing. That's so beautiful. And also in a world that rewards holding it together, what does it mean to fall apart with intent?
Oh, I really appreciate that. That's a great question. So in the summer of 2021, I finally gave myself permission to rest at 51 years old. I didn't know what it meant to rest. I was so busy running for myself. I got that whole gaping hole. Oh, that's all of me is basically bad. So that was a lot to escape. And so it was, I was really busy escaping a lot of bad stuff inside of me. So it didn't really lend itself to resting. But when I finally gave myself permission to rest that summer, I'm like, I'm just going to take edibles and lay in my bed and cry, and it really really helped me. And so getting back to giving women permission to be feminine, women take a lot longer to we take a lot longer to process our emotions than men, and neurologists have proven this. Like, you get a healthy guy who wants to have dinner with his friend, his the problem, do you want to have dinner, solution, I'll see you at 6, and they skip all this part of their brain. Man, oh, hey, you want to have dinner? Yeah, I'll see you at 6. Okay, bye. Done. Totally normal for men. I call it my girlfriend. Want to have dinner? We need to make all the connect. You know, dinner? Well, I kind of been on a diet, my hair and my kids and da 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 da. 20 minutes later, okay, yeah, I'll see you at 6. That's totally normal for women. So women, as women, we actually use our brains more than men to make all the connection. Women are source energy. We're connected. Men are once removed, they're disconnected. They're the opposite, right? We come to see
Yes,
ourselves. So we got to represent both, but I can't be everything, as a feminine woman. I can't embody femininity and then all the masculinity. I need the man to show me those parts of myself. Yeah.
yes, yes. And then there is a profound strength in choosing fall apart with a purpose. That's really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, to give yourself space for that too. That the falling apart is necessary. That those like, you don't get to the top of Mount Everest without going
Yes.
through a serious valley of darkness to get momentum propulsion, to get up there. But
Yeah.
we're so busy like imagining. Okay, so I guess here's something that really helps with a piece of wisdom is this two ball
Mm,
experiment. Okay, in the laws of physics. So you have two identical balls on
mm.
two tracks of the same length, and one track is slightly downhill and one track has hills and valleys. Which ball reaches the finish line first?
The first one.
The slightly downhill? the hills and valleys. Why? Because when based on the laws of physics, right? We're all energy bodies, so our souls plan our lives based on the laws of physics, not what's comfortable. We come here to see ourselves for self-improvement and to learn to surf the waves of life, the hills and valleys. So
Oh,
that propulsion, that ball goes down, gets a momentum and repulsion, and it goes right back up. And so I have in the book like this a video of it where they did that same experiment with, first it was like 2 hills, and then 3 hills, and then 4 hills. Every time the hills and valleys ball wins. And I had to accept that. But in accept that, I'm like, okay, well, that's why my life has so many hills and valleys. I've almost died twice, one by a suicide attempt, one because I didn't value my ability to create human life, went right back to work after my second child was born, and I got bacterial pneumonia and spent 2 weeks on a ventilator, like really almost died. But I needed that kind of darkness to then propel me up to eventually the enlightenment. And enlightenment's an emotion. And I think most, like, I didn't realize that. And I have a master's degree in East Asian religious studies. Like, how did no one ever, and I lived in Chinese Buddhist monasteries. Like, wait, what? So when I experienced it myself, then I had to understand it. And I think the reason that a lot of
mm,
people go to the two ball experiment slightly downhill is because they had a traumatic childhood and
correct.
they're dreaming of a life that was more comfortable, and no one taught them that, the hills and valleys are what's normal. And so Carl Jung has a quote that really helped me understand enlightenment. And he says that one doesn't become enlightened by imagining beings of light like this. The being of light would be, all just want to travel in that slightly downhill,
Mm,
right? But by making the darkness conscious, the darkness being the valley, conscious being the next hilltop. And like Winston Churchill, I have a quote from him in my book as well in the end. And he has a famous quote where he says, "It is said that famous men are often the product of an unhappy childhood." I'm like, oh, there's the two ball experiment, and there's the laws of physics that we
yes.
can't get around. And if we all accept that enlightenment is there to show us profound wisdom and then release
Mm,
catastrophic fears as a
mm,
tool, then we can just more easily go in and out of it and use it as the most, because it's the most high vibrating emotion. And based on the laws of physics, the most high vibrating energy is the most powerful transformative energy. So like shame vibrates at 20 hertz. Love is like 200 hertz. So long term, love, enlightenment will always win, but we have to learn how to go into those darker emotions to find more self-belief and more self-confidence to reach the next mountaintop. And that's why mental illness is a necessary prerequisite to enlightenment. That's why I figured that out. I was like, oh my gosh, Yeah.
this is so beautiful. The example you have said and the quotes there, that I think wonderful. And if your book had a message that can be whispered into every woman's ear, what would that message be?
Femininity is where your value is. Embrace it and open your heart to your femininity.
Yeah, that's so true and so beautiful. And also, how can we support others in answering their own inner heroine's call?
Well, support women and holding space for them when they need to just get out some emotions. Listen, respond, hold space. That's one thing. We all need to hold space for each other's femininity, and women need to vocalize. Women need to talk. When we're busy all day working, we're not talking our emotions and helping people connect to their soul. So holding space for each other's femininity is, I think, the best way that we can support each other.
Yeah, yes. And I think every woman deserves to hear their own inner heroine. And this is a wonderful conversation with you. I think this must be helpful for my listeners and me too, and all the girls and especially women who are listening. And if my listeners want to connect with you, then what's the best way?
www.kerryblaser.com, and you can email me that way. There's a chat that way, or you can find my book on Amazon. I have Instagram, Kerry Blaser, YouTube, Kerry Blaser, and I'll be coming out with more kind of teaching videos to help people learn to self-reflect and establish a healthy practice and learn how to rest, learn how to need help with their femininity. Yeah.
Yes, and I will make sure to attach all the details and links below so that my listeners can find them easily and get in touch with you and can have a nice conversation with you because you're a wonderful person. And with that, yes, thank you so much. And with that, we have come to the end of the show. And to my listeners, Kerry Blaser reminds us that healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about meeting the woman inside who has been waiting to be heard. My Inner Heroine is more than a book. It's a beacon. To every listener, holding pain in silence, your truth is sacred. Your healing is valid, and your voice is ready. Keep listening, keep rising, keep becoming.